Today we're going to calibrate the Olympus EPOCH 1000i for an angle beam test using a 2¼ megahertz half-inch transducer with a 45-degree carbon steel wedge. And before you calibrate, make sure that you couple your transducer to your wedge. The first thing you want to do is get a cal block, and this is a IIW Type 2 with the 4 and the 2-inch radius. So the first thing you want to do is come to your basic display. You want to make sure that your velocity is set for carbon steel. In this case, it's 0.1269 inches per microsecond. Turn your 0 to 0. Turn your range to 5 inches. Set your pulsar to 475 volts. It's a pulse echo, square wave, and for 2¼ we use 2.27 megahertz. For the receiver, full rectification, 0 rejection, and the filter of 0.5 to 4. On your trig setting, change your angle to 45 degrees, because that's the wedge that I'm using. Thickness, I'm going to change that to 1 inch, even though that's not that important. In the X value, I'm going to leave that at 0. That X value is the measurement from the front of the wedge to the beam index point. Curve surface correction turned off. Now the first thing you want to do is couple your transducer to your wedge and find your beam index point. Turn the gain down some so I can see that reflector. And what's nice about this unit, you can use the peak memory and you can peak your signal, and that right there is your beam index point, where the maximum energy is being received. Compare that to the 0 on the block, to the 0 on your wedge. That is your beam index point. And the next step is to measure your angle. Make sure that you indeed are using that your wedge is a 45-degree angle. The block has markings on it. 45, 30 to 60 degrees. This is 45. Point the transducer in the direction of the large hole. Peak your signal. And once your signal is peaked, look where the marking on your wedge lines up with the block. And in this case, it lines up at 45 degrees exactly. So now we're ready to calibrate. Come back over here. Find your 2 and 4 inch radius. Let's peak that. My signal is peaked right there. I want to take my gate and turn down the width, so I'll just capture that 2-inch radius. Do second function auto 80. This will take your amplitude to 80% full screen height. Go to AutoCal, and the first thing you want to do is calibrate your 0. You're going to tell the system from an initial pulse to that first 2-inch radius that it's 2 inches. That's called calibrating your zero. When it's at 2 inches, hit the continue, move your gate over to the 4-inch radius, take it 8% full screen height, cal your velocity, telling the system that that's a 4-inch sound path. There it is. Calculate, and now you're calibrated. It will automatically change your zero into your velocity to come up with the correct reading. In this case, we're reading 4 inches on the 4-inch radius and 2-inch sound path to the 2-inch radius.